All right, so it's been a little bit since I've done one of these. Let's take a look at the top 10 worst Sonic the Hedgehog games from back in the old ScrewAttack days. Should be fun to watch because Sonic Frontiers is coming out. I have no idea if that game is any good. I hear good things. I hear weird things about it, but I really don't care, to be honest with you. So if you have played Sonic Frontiers, let me know what you think of it down below. If you've seen the previews for it, apparently it's pretty good. Let me know your favorite Sonic game and worst Sonic game down in the comments. And of course, go check out my new top 10s. You can find a link up here, down in the comments, or down in the description. Greatly appreciate it. All right, let's get on to this bad boy. Let's go.
Hey, you know what sucks?
Man, right off the bat, Hatless Craig. there was about a 2-year period right there where Hatless Craig was going at it, and it wasn't Evil Craig either. So yeah, I mean, we're already stopping and going.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, I'm sorry, Internet. It's true. Everything that comes out of the blue hedgehog is balls.
Obviously, Abrasive Craig was there too.
100% of everything that comes from Sonic is bad.
Yep. What?
Brian laughing in the background. Let's try this again.
You know what sucks? Most of the time, Sonic the Hedgehog. Hey, you know what's not good anymore? Sonic games. All right, there have been a few here and there, but for the most part, Sonic is pretty much trash. I'm sorry to say it, Sonic fans, but it's true.
I don't retract that statement at all. I mean, over the years, this is probably, I don't know, maybe 2012, 2013, so it's been a while, but that statement still very much holds true. By the way, can we just take a look at how good this looks in the background, this screen? This is a great looking screen in the background. This is from the ScrewAttack arcade game that was given to me at SGC one year. That was really, really good.
So let's celebrate the absolute worst by doing another top 10 worst Sonic games. Yeah, we did it like 10 years ago, but there's been a lot of
What? Did we really? Oh man, we've done this list twice? This is the updated version. All right, nice.
Trash that's been released in the last 10 years. Also, there's a top 10, and we go for 10,000 thumbs up on our top 10, so give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it.
Look, I hardly have 10,000 subscribers, but if you guys want to hit the thumbs up button and we want to get to 10,000, let's go. I'll tell you what, we get 10,000 thumbs up on this video, I promise you, I will remake this list.
Hey, I'm Stuttering Craig.
For a third time.
Zach's top 10 worst Sonic games.
Nice animation. That's good.
Number 10.
And to be fair, when you saw Sonic Fighters for the first time, you were like, hey, that's pretty freaking cool. Then you actually popped a quarter and you were like, whoever made this game never played a fighting game in their life. And let's be honest, fighting games back then weren't even that great. They were okay, they were really good, but not like they are today. Sonic the Fighters is like wiping your butthole, and I guess that's it.
I feel like that was kind of a riff. I think it was also kind of a miss.
Anyways, the game is ugly.
Definitely a riff. You can hear me reacting to it because it was really stupid. What a dumb line.
Hole, and I guess that's it. Anyways, the game is ugly, and sure, Knacker, Fang the Weasel, yeah, they appeared in Sonic Triple Trouble, but who the hell are Bean and Bark, and why is Fang so cheap? Yeah, maybe worth playing with your friends for like a laugh or two, but no, it's not. Sorry, I was totally a lie. It's not.
So I actually do remember playing Sonic the Fighters quite a bit actually when I worked at GameWorks. That was like a big arcade run by Sega back in the late 90s, early 2000s, way before ScrewAttack. I remember playing that game, and it was very much just a tap 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 type game. It was not good at all. It was just definitely a tapper. But I do remember that guy with the gun being incredibly cheap in that game. So far, don't disagree.
Number 9.
Remember when Nintendo said, hey, we're going to have 3 Sonic games on our console? And then 2 came out. Well, Sonic and the Black Knight is the reason only 2 came out.
Think about this right here, this scene here. You have Sonic falling with his chili dogs, obviously playing to the crowd. It's all chili dogs, yeah, all right, chili dogs. And here it is falling down. It's looking all realistic and so stupid, so dumb.
Sonic and the Black Knight is the reason only 2 came out. They were pretty shitty. All you have to do to beat Black Knight is hold the stick forward and waggle the Wiimote around like a freaking wagman. And there you go, the game has no challenge whatsoever. The fantasy world is not nearly as clever as Secret Rings, which was the first Wii game, and everything just seems really, really forced. I mean, Sonic is dressed as a knight, for God's sakes. The only thing that Black Knight really had going for it was the awesome opening scene where Sonic fights the bad guys over chili dogs.
There it is. There's the chili dog, right? This is interesting because I don't remember anything about this game outside of the title. I don't remember much of the Wii era, if I'm being very honest. The Wii era is drastically overlooked in the world. I mean, that is retro now, by the way. It's, 15, 16 years ago, which is crazy to think about. The Wii is... And by the way, can you play any of those games? No, those are going to be lost forever because nobody wants to get out the Wiimote. And that's the crazy thing to think about.
It's actually kind of fun to watch. Too bad it was all downhill from there. And by downhill, I mean a steep cliff into a bottomless pit.
But you did see really cool like hand-drawn animation in that area. I think of like there's a Wario game with cool animation like this. This was a pretty good little art style of that time, I felt.
Number 8.
You ever play Sonic 3D Blast?
This game's trash. This game is trash.
It sucked. It's horrible. It's that weird 3D overhead view where games weren't quite 3D, but it was kind of supposed to be cool because it was kind of 3D. Whatever, it was horrible. Shit. Now try taking that and putting it on the inferior Game Gear. And you got this. It's ridiculously sluggish. It's Sonic Labyrinth. It's Sonic! It's supposed to go fast.
There was that era where games were, and they were trying to like change Sonic and make him more than just the guy who goes fast, and they put him in pinball and 3D environments and that isometric over the head, the kind of 3D-ish environment. It was never truly 3D, but it worked on an axis, kind of like Marble Madness, But I always felt those games controlled really poorly because you weren't controlling the marble with a trackpad; you were controlling it with your D-pad. This never made sense to me ever.
Number 7.
Hey, you like Mario Party?
Oh, Sonic Shuffle. Okay, I was gonna say I don't remember this at all.
Well, you're gonna hate Sonic Shuffle. The rules of Sonic Shuffle work against itself. No mini-games between rounds and only when players land on specific spaces. You're not working towards a goal like getting a star or something, but a fight with a battle system that's based purely on chance. It takes everything that's fun about Mario Party and just poops all over it. Talking a lot about poop this top 10.
So, Sonic Shuffle is interesting because I'm positive I didn't write this entry. I'm positive I didn't, but and I can definitely tell where I ad-libbed a little bit. But this game is not very fun. I have played it a couple times, and when I did play it, like if you're going to be a knockoff of something, you should be a good knockoff of it. Try to improve on it. And you see this all the time with games where they try to be the same but different, and everything they change about it is worse. And that was the case of Sonic Shuffle for sure. And that's how I'd write this new top 10, by the way. That's exactly what I would say.
It's one of those games that you put in front of your friends when you just want to torture them for an hour. You think Mario Party destroys friendships? Putting this game in front of your friends will turn them into your worst enemy. Okay, it's kind of hyperbole, but you get the point.
Number 6.
Interesting. I also just noticed that you guys actually don't see the full... This is like a 16:9 video, and you guys are only getting a portion of it right now, so sorry. You're not missing much. It's mostly just the borders of the top 10.
You ever hear of Sonic Schoolhouse? It's this creepy, sluggish edutainment game where you solve questions and your reward for getting them right is to skip over questions, thus totally negating the whole education part of the game.
What's interesting about this is the last time I heard about this game was the last time I read this top 10 entry. And if you were to say, does Sonic Schoolhouse exist to me right now? I would be like, no. But somewhere, someone out there was keeping track of the ScrewAttack lore and knew every entry that went into every single top 10, and that would be a trivia answer that I would absolutely miss.
Literally defeats the point of itself, and since the point is to educate children, the kids can get through the game without learning anything, plus the fact that it's just unappealing and not fun to play in general, I consider this 100% a colossal failure. It may be one of the worst edutainment games in history.
It is kind of interesting to see kind of the Doom Wolfensteinish style of kind of getting around, especially the split screen side by side. That's kind of fascinating.
Not saying a lot.
Number 5.
Now we're into the top 5. Exciting.
Question for you. What do you think a meeting in the late 90s with the Sega team was like? I mean, do you think they were in an office and they're like, oh God, Sonic isn't edgy enough. He's blue. We need like a black or a red version, and he's got to be evil and edgy. We'll call him Shadow. Yeah, Shadow. And in a few years, we're going to give him his own game where he has guns.
Just look at this for a second and realize how insane this is. This is just absolutely insane. that there's a Sonic the Hedgehog character holding what is the equivalent of, by the way, he is holding the gun correctly. He doesn't have his finger on the trigger. So that's a plus because you always got to treat them like they're loaded. But that is just insane to look at. The equivalent of like, some sort of AK 47 maybe perhaps, or I don't know. I don't know what he's holding, but either way, that's just very weird.
And then 5 years later, we walk into a store, look at the shelf, and see Shadow the Hedgehog, and we're like, whoa! Look at that tribal tattoo next to his name. And that machine gun in his hand. Then we turned around and walked off. Because that's stupid. Shadow the Hedgehog was the moment when the Sonic franchise just drove itself into a hole that it could never, ever, 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 ever climb back out of. It was so bad they had to try to reboot the entire franchise. But if the next game had been good, maybe the general perception of the Sonic games would have stayed pretty positive, and Shadow would have just drifted off into this game that nobody really talks about. But it wasn't.
Does Shadow still exist? I'm asking because I legitimately don't know. Please let me know down in the comments. And if you are a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, what are your thoughts on Shadow the Hedgehog, the game? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it just a total black sheep in the franchise? Curious.
Number 4.
And we could say this game's a joke and move on, and everybody knows it does, but I think the whole backstory here and why it sucks is interesting and really emphasizes why the Sonic franchise has just fallen apart as a whole. This is the worst main series Sonic game, no question. Sonic 06 was pitched to fans as a reboot in tone and style for Sonic games, meant to take the series in a new direction with an epic story and an expansive world like nothing we'd ever seen before. It was meant to make a debut in the 7th generation of consoles, the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Unfortunately, it was a far larger production than Sonic Team predicted, and development fell way, way behind. And as usual, Sega forced Sonic Team to rush through the final stages of production in order to release the game close to launch of the brand new console generation.
How many times has that happened, man? Where business gets in front, and like if a company would have had, I don't know, 3 extra months to work on it, 2 extra months, 1 extra month, the game would have been incredibly better and sales would have just skyrocketed as opposed to being like a black stain on someone's poop underwear. There's another poop reference for this top 10. Mine's in the gutter. But yeah, it happens all the time. And part of me understands it. Part of me is like, eee, like the Fonz. Eee, that's a bad business decision.
The result,
remember the Fonz? Nobody gets the Fonz.
Was a big, sloppy, disjointed mess. I mean, immediately obvious is the confusing level design, awkward voice acting, and atrocious storyline. Entire sections of the game are clearly missing, including the tool and upgrade system, which you can talk to a merchant about, but never actually do. There are several points where you gotta wait through a 30 to 60 second loading screen for one character to say one line of dialogue, just to get to another loading screen. A smaller than required budget and a lack of time to finish. But even if Sonic Team had made the game they wanted, the fact remains, this game would have been about a blue hedgehog who fights a random evil sun god, which a king trapped in tears of his daughter who can't cry and is into bestiality. Regardless, it would have been fucking weird.
That's a pretty good way to tell. I was thinking to myself, this is a really long entry for a top 10. Really long entry. That's probably about a minute long. But sometimes certain games really warrant the longer entry. I'm very intrigued to kind of see where we're at here because we're already at number 4 going to top 3. I'm intrigued. What is this? Ooh.
Thankfully, though, at the end of the game, our heroes reverse time and none of this shitty story ever happened, which is pretty much exactly what we wish had happened with this game to begin with.
Burn.
Number 3.
Oh, I'm going to get flagged so hard for this music on YouTube. Any super thanks are greatly appreciated down in the comments. Thank you very much to help monetize this because God knows this song this song alone will cause copyright infringement on YouTube. I promise you that. So super thank below and I'll give you a thanks on the next video.
Remember the last entry, Sonic 06? I gave you this big old rundown about why the game is bad and the history behind it. I'm not going to do that with Sonic R. God damn it. I hate this game. No one can ever tell me it's good. It's trash. Everything about it is trash. It's just Sonic R's trash.
You know, that's it. That's the end of the intro. That's the end of the intro right there. The entry. What's funny is I remember people after, I don't remember this top 10 at all, but I do remember the reaction and hearing people specifically, like I had one guy in particular reach out and was like, I can't believe you said that about Sonic R. It's legitimately one of my favorite racing games ever. And it's like, okay, like, what do you say to that? Okay, yes, it is the best. When people would try to justify, you don't understand. It's like, okay, all right, I don't understand why you think Sonic R is such a great game. but 99.99999% of people think Sonic R is trash. But please tell me more and change my thought. It was like being on Twitter before Twitter was a thing. Or at least what it was today. A cesspool of shit.
Number 2.
Here it is, the big game to save the Sonic
Oh, yeah.
franchise. Again. And again, it is horrendous.
Man, that really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? How many times has a Sonic franchise been rebooted? Almost as many times as this channel has.
Sonic Boom is broken in so many ways. The character's separate traits are underused, the levels are big and don't encourage exploring, the speed sections just chug, making them legitimately hard on your eyes, and the overall story is just not interesting. And it's also legitimately possible to skip entire sections of the game. What makes Rise of Lyric worse is that it was actually meant to herald in a new era of Sonic, the era of Sonic Boom, but failed due to being rushed through production.
Wasn't there a big cartoon as well with Sonic Boom? I thought Sonic Boom, the cartoon, was actually supposedly pretty good. And is Sonic Boom thought of? I don't know. For some reason, in the back of my mind, I feel like Sonic Boom is thought of as a good game now. Maybe I'm just totally off on this, but I don't know. I can tell you this: I did not write a lot of this top 10. I can absolutely tell because I am not a Sonic connoisseur, if you will.
It's almost exactly like Sonic 06 all over again, except there's not as much fun to make of it. At least he didn't try to make the characters dark, brooding, or kinky for bestiality like 06 did.
What's up?
And the worst part is that it's not even fun to play. Not even for laughs.
It's
Oh man, so what would I'm trying to think? It's always fun to think about what could potentially be number one here. I'm thinking some sort of maybe handheld title. I just said Rise of the Lyric is worse, but I don't know. Did I spoil it there, or did we spoil it there? But this is definitely a ScrewAttack top 10. This was definitely not a Stuttering Craig top 10. I can promise you that.
number 1.
Hey, remember the Kinect? Yeah, before Xbox just said, yeah, we have this thing and we're going to force you to buy it, then we're not going to make anybody use it for anything. Yeah, well, that was the thing.
What's really fat, by the way, she was totally off. Look at the tracking as she moves. Like, it's already turning before she moves, which is great. It's so good. Anyways, and speaking of like video game preservation, we've talked about, I think this is something that's, as I've gotten older, something I truly appreciate. The idea of preserving video games on the Wii, games on Kinect, all the motion controller games, they need to be preserved. That we'll never see games like this again. And you know, the closest thing you're going to see is some sort of VR headset on you, and it's, you know, those are going to be. We're going to lose a lot of games, is what I'm telling you. There's going to be a lot of games that are going to be lost in time, which truly sucks. Which is like, yeah, you understand the movie side of things, you know, like movies from the early 1900s, 1910s, 1920s. You know, they didn't have film, they didn't have a proper storage way but like, there's no excuse. There's no excuse now. And these games they're just tossed into the trash, tossed into oblivion. Somewhere there's some code out there that maybe some dude has on a hard drive, but we'll never see the day of it. Anyways, the point is, video game preservation is a good thing.
Anyways, say hello to the worst of the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Sonic Riders was already a terrible spin-off racing franchise. So terrible, I'm confused as to how it became a franchise with multiple sequels. I mean, did anyone actually play these games? Better question, did anyone actually enjoy these games? I mean, I got the first out of a bargain bin for like 50 cents, and I regret spending those 2 quarters as soon as I started playing it. So how the hell were there 3 of these games? And why the hell is the 3rd one so unplayable? There is no excuse when you release a racing game on a new system that it just flat out doesn't work. Sonic Free Riders is broken. Want to make a right turn? Yeah, good luck. See that power up? Oh, sorry, passed right through you. Want to play as a second player? Prepare to look like a complete moron.
There's Gerardo, Hybrid Rain, and there's Brian. Brian, by the way, recently moved on from Rooster Teeth. I think his job is now at Bungie. How great is that? Look, I just saw that on Twitter. And Brian, if you're watching this, which you're probably not, dude, super proud of you. Congratulations on taking your life into your hands and believing in yourself. Man, you guys need to be like Brian. Like, don't be afraid to take the risk. Make the jump. It's awesome. Way to go, Brian.
Unlike Sonic Boom, Sonic R, Sonic 06, which are also broken, Free Riders is so bad, it's actually hard to make fun of. Even worse, playing one race is practically guaranteed hurts your back, regardless of if you're just the stereotypical fat nerd or physically unreasonably proportioned bodybuilder. There is no other Sonic game that requires you to physically harm your body.
on that note, that line right there may have made it, like, just listening to that, it made it seem like we were talking about Brian being the stereotypical fat nerd. That was not the case by any means. But I'll say this. Brian, if I can go on another Brian Love Fest, Brian took responsibility for himself, went in. He looks awesome. He looks amazing now. I could gush about Brian all day. He's lost a ton of weight, took control of his diet. What a stud.
Playing one race is practically
What a
guaranteed
stud.
to hurt your back, regardless of if you're just the stereotypical fat nerd or physically unreasonably proportioned bodybuilder. There is no other Sonic game that requires you to physically harm your body. And we get it, there may be some nostalgic value of picking up bad games like R or The Fighters, or some humorous charm of playing trash like Shadow or Sonic Boom or Sonic 06. But there is no redeeming value to even touching this game. It does not belong on the shelf, much less your game console. It is simply worthless in every possible way. And the worst
Really going deep on this, aren't I? Damn.
part about it, this game made hoverboards uncool. That is just unacceptable. That was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, great.
All right, nice. There you go. We have the old, you can always tell the era of this with YouTube right here, where you had the annotations. You guys remember annotations on YouTube? Good stuff right there. Well, that was fun. Speaking of annotations, hey, right there, bingo. You can watch my new top 10s, or you can watch my classic reactions to top 10s down here. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's get that 10,000 thumbs up. You guys, we get to 10,000 thumbs up in the next month. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll redo this list for another time, because they'd be interested. There's a lot of new games that have come out since this one has been released. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Stick around for more. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Once again, those super thanks, greatly appreciated. See you guys.